along to part 15 of making this slightly larger than miniature hit and miss engine. In this part, which is part 15, I'm hoping to make a little exhaust camshaft. Now, I've never really made a camshaft before. I did an offset lever for the Hemingway's kit's sensitive nailing tool, but that were like a round, just slightly offset. This is making a cam with a lobe on the top, like a car camshaft. So that'll be a bit of a challenge for me, because I've never done one before, but we'll see how we go. And we'll try and make a push rod and see if we can set up the primary and secondary gears onto the side cheeks of the body. I don't know how far we'll get with this part, but as usual it takes hours and hours of work, probably, you know, a couple, 2, 3, 4 days sometimes, bits and bats in the garage. I'm not always in here, but when I am, I'm in for quite some hours and drink quite a bit of coffee. So let's see how far we get with it without further ado. Okay. I'm going to attempt to make a camshaft. No idea how it'll turn out. Spread that up to 180. Oh, I don't know. Could have rounded that off more. That pin mark is no, that's a reference. It wants drilling down there so that we've got the lift of that cam, but that's way too much overlap on that. That wants more taking off there and there. That dot there's putting me off. I'll come back when I've got a bit closer. We're getting there. Yeah, it wants a little bit more off there. I'm going to take it out and show it now, see where we go. It's not far out. Obviously it's going to have to go back in here to be parted off eventually, but I'll have to recenter it to do that. Whole grip marks there, look. So you'll have to ignore that because it's been off centre going round, but basically that's the lift of the cam. I don't know if you're going to be able to see it. Right, I put it in vice and used a hand file, a fine file, and I think we're pretty much there. You can see the lift. So it's got to be marked for the hole, which will be 5mm down centre or 6mm, whatever decide to make the lift down from the centre from that. So we find out what that is, put a mark centre of that, and then come down whatever the lift is that I want. Probably with 2 small screws. I've had discussions about this before with other people, and I was concerned that I couldn't alter timing because I could be 2 teeth out, because this is a 20 to 40 tooth setup, but how silly of me. The actual 20 tooth, which is on the end of the crankshaft, is held on with pinch bolts, which I can adjust infinitely, so it doesn't matter where this goes. I can stick this anywhere as long as it's central and the pin runs through it, then it don't matter where that goes on there, because I can time it with the primary gear, not with the secondary. Pin it with the little miniature ball race that's going to run on this cam, and then cut it off, drill it and solder that into it, and that will become my push rod with that fork on the end. I'm saying this because this is too narrow for me to get a ball bearing in there. It's not a ball bearing, it's a little miniature ball race. I don't know whether I showed you, but I will show them again. These are the most miniature little things you've ever seen. The measure 2.5mm across. That's actually a caged ball race, which I'm going to use as the roller to run on the cam. That's the idea. So I've got to get something to hold that. I didn't fancy the idea that ball race being just fastened on the side. I wanted it central. You got a nice equal push. So I'm thinking of using this and cutting a a groove in it with something and putting the bearing in and a pin through, and then we've got our roller, and then cut this to whatever size, drill it, and like I said, solder that in. So the profile on the little camshaft is actually not bad now. So what I've done is I've worked out 3mm of valve lift, that's all it needs. I don't want to go too silly on it. So 3mm valve lift, whatever were left on this measurement that I took 3mm off it and then halved it, and I've centre popped it there, so the cam's going to be mounted centre there, so that'll be nothing when it comes round. That'll be 3mm of lift, if that makes any sense. So I'm going to centre this up and with something or other, and then drill it. It needs to be 10mm. Just a little snippet to bob in here. Never mentioned about fixtures. So I've got a parallel sat on its base on the bottom of the vise, and then I've used a V-block, which is the same as that one. The whole idea of a V-block, if you didn't know, and I know that most of the regulars will know, is that you ideally, if you're going to clamp a piece of round bar, you need 3 points of contact to hopefully stop it from spinning or going out of line, and these are perfectly paralleling and, you know, machined. So I've sat one there like that, and as you can see, it's sat on the parallel and it's clamped this, so we've got 1 point of contact, 2, 3. So we've 3 good points of contact there. If I'd have clamped that straight into the vise, I'd have only had 2 points of contact, which means it can cockle, it can spin, it can come out. Just thought to stick that bit in. I don't know a right lot, but what I do know is things like this. Take that out of there, I think. Yeah, I've just broke into edge a little bit, but it's recoverable, I think. I think we should be alright. It's a part that you can't see when it's on, and it just needs locating. Yeah, it's not perfect, but then I suppose everything I do is not perfect. It's just okay. Right. was trying to cut it back well to give me a load of room here, because I want to use that, don't I, to hold the little roller bearing that's going to run on here. I want to give it plenty of room, because that could be sandwiched between two pieces of material of whatever. So that will go on there like that. This is the X bar, and I'm cutting a slot 2.5 millimeters wide with this brand new little milling cutter that I found, which is 2.5. The only other small one I used, I actually snapped it, so I'm being so careful, and it's in brass, and I know brass is soft, although it can pick up. I've set a stop on the bed of this, so that when I wind it up to where I want to on a cut to, which I think is 5 millimeter, it'll hit the stop and I can wind back, so that I get the exact same movement each time. I could do it with my zero watching it, but I don't want to watch it, I want to watch the work. So I've put camera on and I'm nibbling away at right small amounts at a time, which we'll see. I'm bringing Z up. Sorry if it's a bit noisy, mill machine's clattering a bit. I'm running at 1000 RPM. Sounds like it's through. I didn't show drilling it, but I've just drilled it. Right, make sure now. I might have to file a right little bit off end. I'm going to have to take it out of here to do it. I'll come back when I've done a bit more, but I'll probably make a pin and put a pin in and you can see it done. Right, we've had success, so that's a 3 millimeter, stand back a bit, that's a 3 millimeter drill, which will be replaced by a 3 millimeter pin, and that's the little roller in there. It's sticking out by about 0.4 of a millimeter, 0.3 maybe, so I need to dress this gently with a file and polish it up so the roller sticks out suffice to be able to run on the camshaft, which I'm not going to bring over because I've set it on a piece of bar. Next plan is cut this at a point somewhere with enough on it that I can drill it M4 and put the round brass rod on, so that we're not using that all the way along, because I've got to make a guide for this to slide in. Making an hexagon guide would be awkward really, so I'm better off something to drill. So I'll cut that, we'll thread it and then put a lock nut on so we can adjust it backwards and forwards. Gonna have to be really careful here, because that's the wrong size hole. I haven't got a 3.3mm, that was 3.15. And you know, I must have over 400 drills in here, sets and all sorts, and it's always the size you want you don't have. Always. Sod's law. Put some lube on and just go real careful. If you can notice this, but this is one that so I can plug to the bottom. I took the point off it. Well, that was relatively easy. Okay, so I need to thread the end of that piece of rod. Be careful here, last time I did this, it ran off and went down that hole. Okay, so we've now got our adjustment for the tappet. Right. Another little bit made. So I've marked a circle and popped a centre in there, and that's the two sprockets, and it's going to end up there. and this will come through it and it'll rotate freely on that. If that's the wrong way around, it will be that way around, but to make it more accurate for me measuring, I placed them both that way so they were sat on the actual side cheek. So how I'm going to fix it, that wants to be fixed rigid to that so it doesn't spin, so that the bush will spin on it. This is 10mm, so I'm thinking of turning that down to 8mm, drilling that hole 8mm. There'll be a shoulder washer on here anyway, because I need to pack the gear off this side cheek, otherwise it'll rub on it. So I need to make a little spacer washer that'll sit on here, and then that'll go through there, but it won't come right through to the other side. It'll be just stop short, and there'll be a washer and probably an Allen screw screwed in there. I suppose we're going to be talking M6 probably, and that'll be nipped in so that that stub will be fixed solid into there like that. That's the plan. That's what I'm thinking. I don't know how long this needs to be yet, because there's this governor idea, and I've racked my brains. I'd love to make a governor with the two balls that spin out up here somewhere, but without using bevel gears and messing about, I think I'm going to have to pinch ideas from original ones that have been done, models, which is by using the weights that are on the outside of the flywheel that spring out and pull a mechanism and rock an arm, and the arm stops the push rod from returning to the cam and holds the valve open. I know it all works, but I just haven't come up with a governor idea that I think is going to be suitable, that could be better than what I've seen done before. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to make this. No idea how long it needs to be. So what I'll do is I'll make it. It's got a hole down the middle of there, quite big, which I need to turn that off. Then turn this shank down, drill this, cut a length of rod longer than I need, and then at a later date I can part it to whatever length I need it to be. Take a bit out, so don't cut my fingers. That's 8mm. That drill's drilled under, which means we'll have to run a reamer through. 7.9. 7.95. Is leave that like that, because I've got to turn down this piece of bar to fit in there, so I can slowly come up on it, capture it, on the lathe until it fits, and keep dropping it in and out. It's only going in 3 jar. A little tip on that, that's a grip through chuck, which is extremely accurate because it's adjustable. However, I've got a pop mark on it, and you might have seen me earlier on in this video putting a pop mark on the forge jaw. It's an idea to do that. It's always a reference point. Put a pop mark on it anywhere around the face of it and it'll always be there. Put a bit of ink marker on it if you want, and then when you've got this in your bar or whatever you're going to do, put a mark on it. If it's a piece of sacrificial what you're going to throw away at end bit, you could pop that as well. Then if you take it out to try it in something and you bob it back in, you line them marks up, you know for a fact you're going to be bang on. Just a tip. So what I've done is obviously these are quite hard steel, so I've, let me wind this up so I can tell if you can see me what I'm doing. So yeah, I've Loctited with 638 a pin in there. Again, I've got all sorts of Loctites, thread lock, you name it, all sorts of stuff, bearing fit and all sorts. You never know which to use, but everybody raves on YouTube about 638, so I thought why not use it. So I've bonded that in, so that's in permanently. So this side, it don't want anything doing, and at that side I need to get Dremel, put it in vise, go steady and cut the end of that off and dress it up on Dremel, and that's finished completely then. Okie dokie, just thought I'd show you that as well. What next one? Other than that, they're going to be both the same. Sorry, you're not seeing much, are you? I don't want it to go disappear down back at lathe. No. That one's good. I've put the pin through, the 10mm pin, so them two are together. I've used two V-blocks, so they've grabbed the boss under here in the V-blocks, and then I put this shaft through with the cam on it, and I've super glued the cam. I was going to use Loctite, but super glue goes off a lot quicker, so that's actually rock solid onto there, just so I can get my guide to drill my holes. It's a M3 tap I want to run, so that's a 3mm drill to get my guide hole back from where I was originally. And then I'll transfer that out and put the 2.5 in to drill the hole through, then tap it, do all the operations in one go. And that's the point. How deep am I going? I've just seen a possible blooper. Aye, yeah, I might have break that super glue and do it again. That hole there is in line with that grub screw hole there. If I drill through there, it's going to encroach into that grub screw. Point it being, do I need that grub screw? Now I'm not using them grub screws because this is going to be free spinning, but it still wouldn't be right, would it? I'm going to do it, let's do it right. So I've got to break that super glue off. Is it blow lamp or big mallet? I'll knock pin out. Right. That light's great, but then sometimes it's a nightmare. Anybody noticed the blooper? It's getting late again. Started making mistakes. That's the second one in 10 minutes. I've started drilling through with a 3mm for a 4mm tap. Should be that one. All I want to do was line it up with that. Luckily, I haven't drilled it too far. On that one first. That's the one. Might be able to get it started. That needs edge, just tap it, taking off it because I run out a right little bit. Right, so I've got everything sorted. So we've got the camshaft fixed securely to the secondary gear, and the meshing of the teeth is great. It's bolted and this rod is fixed now, so that rod doesn't go around. I used an Allen screw to fix at the back of here between the cheeks of the body, and I obviously couldn't get an Allen key in, so I've taken it out and I've put a hex bolt in, a hexagonal well, it's an high tensile steel one that I've cut down. So that's all done, so you can see now how the engine rotates that way, I believe. So you'll see how the cam operates, if you can see that. You might get a better view now of what's going on. So that's the camshaft, and that should have 3mm of lift on it, should that. Now I'm hoping that 3mm, which I'm sure it will be. You've got to remember that when this exhaust valve is when this exhaust valve's locked open, it's going to be open 3mm. Don't have to be. I can alter ratio at rock around, can't I? But what I'm worried about is got to make sure that this piston don't hit it, because as you know, the valve is held open by the governor, and then the valve is still open when the piston comes up. So that's going to be out 3mm if I use a 1-to-1 ratio rocker. So I'll have to just be right careful when I set all this up, just to make sure. But I do think, from what I can remember, we've got something like 6.5 or 7mm of clearance between the block face and the top of the piston, so I think we should be okay. But when I get nearer and I start building rocker gear and these push rods, because that's got to be next, so I've still to cut that down, but I get a better idea now. If I've knocked this off and you can't even see it anymore. But that's not going to work. Nah. So that'll be, when the governor activates, that'll be on the lift of the cam there, and the governor will latch just prior to it, so it'll actually will. I don't think you can get it bang on because it might not latch, so you've got to make sure that the latch is further back. You probably don't know what the heck I'm talking about, but we're getting there. So tomorrow I'll whip this end of this off, and that's complete then. I don't think it'll come out, it's Loctited in. If it does, I have to think of another way of retaining it. Alright, so that's as far as we've got. What we've done so far in this episode, we've basically sorted this shaft out, we've meshed these gears and drilled the hole into the body. We've made this camshaft. Don't sound like a lot, does it? It's a lot of work, quite a few days work, and a lot of videos to edit. I think so far we're up to video 15 or 16 that's got to be edited down into one. Well, hello everyone again. I hope you found part 15 interesting. Plenty of machining on the lathe and both on the miller machine too. I hope that you found it interesting. I know it's very slow, and I'm slow. I'm an old man and I enjoy working in my workshop, and I enjoy showing it too. So I don't think we did bad actually in this episode. We've got the camshaft made and it turned out quite nice. I think the profile's quite good. It's not quite a Kent cam, but you know, maybe up to Cosworth standards. But yeah, we've done quite a bit. Camshaft done, primary, secondary gear all meshed up perfectly. Push rod sorted out, still to chop down obviously. But yeah, everything's going really well. And apart from a few little bloopers which I've shown, because I do like to show my bloopers, because I know some guy on model engineering site, or a couple of them once commented and said, you know, you should never show your mistakes because it shows what an idiot you are. But the thing is, I know I'm an idiot, and you know, if you show your mistakes, there's no wrong with that, is there? You know, it's always like with a car crash, innit? It wasn't my fault, it was him. And somebody comes up with a camera and said, hey, look at that. bloke goes, it still wasn't my fault. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed part 15 and look forward to part 16. Thank you very much for watching. Please subscribe, share with your friends and give me a thumbs up, and most importantly, I don't care about how many subscribers I've got. Most important than everything is comment. If you think I've done something wrong, tell me. Well, I know I have. I've done a few things wrong, but tell me, you know, just say, Steve, you've done that wrong, mate. I'll take it on board, and if it's a valid comment, I will take it on board. If you swear at me, I won't. I'll just ignore you. Thanks, guys.